This is 1 year later.
This is
1 year
later.
This is 1 year later.
This is
1 year later.
This is 1 year later.
1 year.
1 year later.
This is 1 year later.
This is 1 year later.
Well, I'm going to college in Washington, D.C. I don't know, making new friends, getting to know people. Kind of got lonely in college, so I joined a fraternity, so I'm part of Pi Kappa Phi right now. I joined intramural sports, played flag football, got on the dean's list, got good scholarships and everything, so I mean, I've been just doing what I do, I guess.
I spent the last year at University of Washington in Seattle, and I was going to do political science as a major, but I switched around the end of winter quarter into business marketing. And yeah, I'm having fun there, trying to learn.
Well, I spent the last year, graduated in June, shipped out July 15th, and I was gone for 6 months with the Army.
This last year, I went to Seattle Pacific University, up in Seattle, obviously, and so I thought for sure that my major would be English, because that's something I've always loved, and so took a lot of English classes and had 2 jobs, and I decided to go to France this summer to study political science, and so I think I may be switching my major to that.
My last year I went to Gonzaga University. I got a soccer scholarship there, and I'm studying business right now.
I spent the last year working and being in school. I was thinking about going away to school, but plans kind of changed, so I ended up working a lot more than I thought I was going to.
For the past year, I spent in WSU in Pullman, where I did a number of different things. One of which was when I joined a sorority, and it was a good experience. Learned a lot of things, met a lot of great people.
Well, the last year I've definitely been working a lot and studying a lot and playing a lot. That's pretty much about it.
Over the last year I went to school in Bellingham, and I moved out there and I got a new job, and I met a lot of new people, and I just tried to take some challenging classes at the beginning, and then tried to ease my schedule back so I wasn't doing as many classes.
Last year I went to St. George, Utah, and I went to a school called Dixie State, and I went there with my cousin and all of her friends from high school.
I have spent the last year by going to Clark and hanging out with my friends.
I attended the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho, and I am part of the sorority Pi Beta Phi. I was elected as the vice president of my sorority, so it was really exciting. It was a lot of responsibility though, and I was a little bit nervous being a freshman and going into all that, but basically just school. And the dance team, I was on the University of Idaho dance team, so we performed at basketball games and stuff like that, so definitely kept dancing while I was up there. It was a lot of fun.
Last year has been really fun. I've been at Northwest University studying communication, and I'm adding a business minor next year just in case I need it in the future.
This year I went to George Mason University, which is just outside of Washington, D.C., and so I spent a lot of time in class and kind of just exploring the nation's capital.
Well, I went to Washington State University and pretty much just finished my freshman year there. Like after high school that summer I worked, and then I went to Washington State.
I decided to go to school up at Western Washington in Bellingham. I work at the Fred Meyer Starbucks, and I'm part of a program called Big Brothers Big Sisters. I have a little brother, his name is Tiger Big Leggins.
So last year I moved to Seattle and started going to college, and I live in a house. And
This last year I spent at Portland State, and I played softball.
So last year I was up at University of Washington, and I was a freshman there, obviously, and was also in the Naval ROTC Battalion.
I was a student at Clark College, and I've just been working with Christian Youth Theater and Virtuosity Performing Arts Dance Studio, really taking my dancing to a new height.
My last year's consisted of going to Clark, working, and hanging out with my friends. And doing homework, of course.
I spent the last year, I went away to Washington State University in the fall, this last fall, and I was there till May. I took a good amount of classes, and
I now know that when you're offered a good meal, you should take it because it's not very often that you'll have one when you're in college. I ate a lot of top ramen, and I wish that I would have had a good meal every night like I did back home.
It's been a good idea to come into the university not knowing what I wanted to do as like my major, just because I feel like I came in wanting to do pharmacy, and then now I'm in business, and I feel like the first semester I was taking all these classes, trying out like stuff for pharmacy, and I realized that I feel like I wasted some time.
How unpredictable college can be. I guess you have different people from all points of view or around the world, so just if I knew that it's going to be a little bit hard, especially if you decide to go far away for some reason like we did, that you need to find some kind of friendship, then that'll help you through college.
I'm not sure that I would want to know anything that I didn't know a year ago, just because it would have taken the fun and the mystery out of things this year.
Now I know that it's important to be yourself and be outgoing, because if you stay inside your bubble and you're not friendly and outgoing, it's a lot harder to make new friends.
I kind of just went with the flow, and I didn't really broaden my university options as much as I should have.
What I wish I knew a year ago that I didn't, that college was going to actually be a lot easier to do, as in getting friends and adapting to a different city.
The thing that I wish I would have known a year ago was not to be afraid of leaving. I was super, super nervous about going off to college because I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to have any friends up at school. I'm going to be alone. That whole thing, just everything was running through my head constantly. So I was really super emotional. But once you go up there, you have to realize that everyone is in the same position as you are.
It's a lot more expensive being in the real world than it is in high school, I'll tell you that much. You have your parents providing for you financially. When you get your own place and you have your own car payment, all that good stuff, it gets pretty expensive.
I guess that my morals and values are really different than most people's. I don't know if it necessarily has anything to do with school or life lessons or anything, but I realize I'm a lot different than other people, and I guess that kind of just sets me apart.
Kind of the importance of friendship. I wanted to get away and not do the norm, go to WSU or Western, kind of get away from what I've been doing throughout my high school career and meet new friends and experience new things. But I started to miss my friends and my family a lot, so now I kind of realize the importance of the relationships I built while I was in high school.
I think the biggest thing for me is I went to Western thinking that I wanted to be a teacher because they've got a really good teaching program, and now I don't want to be a teacher anymore, so I kind of wish I would have known that, so I wouldn't have taken some classes, and it's the biggest thing for me, I think.
I wish I would have known how much bureaucratic bull that we would have to go through in college.
I know that school's a lot more expensive than most people think, and yes, it's good to get out to a new town, but it's also not that big of a deal, and it's worth the wait to not leave and then wait 2 years, go to Clark, and then come back.
I wish I would have known how hard it would have been to be away from home, honestly. That's probably the biggest change in life that you have to go through, and I wish I would have known that earlier.
I wish I would have went away to school. But on the other hand, I wasn't ready to go away.
I think I would have rather gone straight in knowing, okay, I want to meet as many people as possible and really establish some really good relationships. And I think if I had more time, it would have been an even better year than it already was.
I really wish I would have known, how dramatically different Seattle is compared to Vancouver. I grew up there, but I never expected it to be such a dramatic change from, the social aspect and the living environment, too. So, but college-wise, I took Mr. Beck's class, and it was way harder than any college class I've taken.
Now I know that college is hard, and if you have no direction, then you're kind of wasting time. But I felt like I had a good direction, but over the past year I've changed my major, or not necessarily my major, but what I want to be about 4 times.